If you took The Walking Dead and combined it with some of the memory manipulation elements from Inception and some of the reality bending shenanigans of The Matrix, you'd get a close approximation of what this book is actually like. And Then I Woke Up by Malcolm Devlin is a short novella that takes a much different approach to the zombie apocalypse genre. Most people have a strong idea of what a story like this might be about, and the book does a wonderful job of using that assumed knowledge and subverting our expectations of what the zombie apocalypse can be. The book seems to take place a number of years after a zombie apocalypse event has happened. Things aren't back to normal yet, but society has started to take steps towards getting back on its feet. That's where we're introduced to our protagonist, Spence, and it's revealed that for the past few years he's been living at some kind of rehabilitation or recovery center. The rehabilitation center is called Ironside, and Spence is living there because he is one of the people who have been cured of the infection. An experimental cure for the infection has been discovered, and Ironside is a facility that specializes in the treatment and care of those who have been woken up. Spence has come to really enjoy his life at Ironside, especially after the years spent roaming aimlessly through the city, and especially after everything he has done. We find out that even though Spence had no control over his actions while he was infected, he still retains all of the memories from that time. And as new patients enter the facility, we're shown the shock and trauma they suddenly have to deal with as they've been woken up and realize all of the things they've done. Regular group therapy sessions are a critical part of the recovery process for those who have been cured of the infection. Being brought back to consciousness is only the first step, because once you've been woken up, you now have to deal with the memories of the pain you've caused and the people you've killed. A big part of the therapy sessions is that each patient recounts what could be their most traumatic or painful memory from their time being infected. For many, this involves hurting friends and family and not being able to stop themselves. The doctors attempt to help the patients confront these memories and weave together a narrative in which they acknowledge what they've done, but can also accept that it was beyond their control. There are varying degrees of effectiveness that the recovery process has on people. Spence has taken to it very well and has become one of the longest current residents at Ironside. He's chosen to remain at the facility voluntarily, even though he could leave at any time now. But after a new patient named Leela joins Ironside, things start to change. Leela isn't taking to the therapy and recovery as well as the others and is obsessed with leaving the facility and going back to her people. Spence becomes convinced that he should escort her across the city, and he feels ready to see the outside world again. That's about as much as I'll say about the basic setup and plot, because this book has some serious twists that I don't want to ruin. There's so many more details about the Ironside facility and the recovery process, the initial outbreaks, and then the actual nature of the infection itself. And all of these things have a completely unique and unexpected take on the zombie apocalypse genre. I like this book for the most part. I think the extremely unique take on a genre that has pretty much been beaten to death kept me engaged throughout the story. It also helps that the book is short. I don't think I would have been as eager to read a full novel of this material. The narrative jumps around often, which is a little difficult to follow at times, and the story tackles some complicated psychological concepts which can be a little confusing to wrap your head around. I think the book does a decent job of explaining things, but I did have to reread sections to make sure I actually understood what was or wasn't happening. I think the length of the book and the choice to focus on the higher concepts of world building left the character work a little by the wayside. The story does dive into the backgrounds of Spence and Leela, but I wasn't really connected to them or their relationships. I was more interested in their stories because it added to the lore of the world around them. At certain points, the message and the symbolism of the story felt a little on the nose and in your face, but I didn't mind it too much. The message feels extremely poignant to the world we actually live in now. Overall, I thought this was a fun and unique read. It brings something new and fresh to the zombie genre, which has essentially become a zombie of a genre. The concept is heartbreaking and extremely relevant to our times, and it has a good mix of psychological and body horror. So if you're looking for something quick, spooky, and fun to read at the beach or by the pool this summer, then I would pick up And Then I Woke Up by Malcolm Devlin.